Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode one, season three of the Daily Pill, a live webcast sponsored by our parent company, Angel Home Care Services, a caregiving agency providing advice, peace of mind, and direct home care services to families in the Dade County and Monroe communities right here in South Florida. Today, we have an awesome guest. Her name is Heather Hassandras, and Heather is a certified professional guardian that provides guardianship and care management services to families. She has a background in care coordination, management that exceeds over 20 years, and she's led multiple organizations providing care to the most vulnerable populations in our communities. I'm not going to read her entire resume because it's way too large, all right, and it will take way too much time. And so, Heather, how are you and welcome?
Thank you for having me, Claudio. I'm happy to be here this evening and to share any expertise or advice I can with your audience.
Thank you, and expertise you will share because you have a pretty interesting background, and our worlds are pretty much aligned in the context of the people we seek to serve. And so the title of today's show is, what's a care manager and why should you care if you're a family caregiver? And then we talked about a few questions that I wanted to ask you. And I think the first question that will probably pop into a lot of people's, and it's amazing how many people don't really know what a care manager does. So why don't we start there? What's a care manager?
Sure. So a care manager is a professional facilitator that not only will give advice to many family members or power of attorneys or families, but also we're experts in the services that are available for elderly people or people with disabilities. So a lot of times what happens is a lot of family members are not sure who to call in different circumstances. So to have somebody who has expertise in the area of elder care services and has availability and knowledge of the local resources is vital to be able to provide your loved one with the best care and services they can get.
And so is it safe to say that a care manager is almost like, I don't want to use sports analogies, but is it like a quarterback? Are you like the person that manages most of the aspects of the healthcare day to day for a particular family? Is that accurate?
Absolutely. So I work along with the family member. So a lot of times, you'll get your loved one might have services, different services, but the person is not working for you. So I contract with that family and I become their local eyes and ears. I am their quarterback. I am there to manage whatever services that their family member may need. If they have to go to the hospital, I'm right there at the hospital with them. I'm the person that would be coordinating every aspect of their livelihood and making sure that they're taking their medications on time and reporting back on a regular basis to the family.
I would think that if you're talking to the sons and daughters, right?
Yes. Usually usually as a care manager, I am contracted by that son or daughter that is the power of attorney.
Okay.
But they are very busy in their own lives and they may not be able to be around all the time for 24/7 to be able to manage the care of their loved one. So hiring somebody is extremely vital because it's like you have an assistant that is in the field checking on your parent or your loved one and making sure that everything goes how you want it to according to their care needs.
I would imagine that you're godsend for sons and daughters that live abroad, right? That live out of state and their parents are here and they don't have that person. I can't imagine how well received you are sometimes when those circumstances,
Absolutely, because especially when the person is out of state, because a lot of times you'll call your aunt or uncle and you'll ask them how they're doing and they just say they're fine. Meanwhile, you're not there to see, are they eating properly? Are they losing weight? Are they taking their medication? How come they're not answering their phone? It really makes a huge difference when you have somebody who is able to knock on their door and go visit them on a regular basis and take photographs of them and send it to you on a regular basis and call you. A lot of times also what I'll do is I'll also do FaceTime. And it's a great way to connect a lot of family members that are in different parts of the state and in different parts of the country together to be able to see how that person looks, if they're being cared for, to ask them questions. It's very important to have that connector, and a care manager is that missing component.
Awesome. All right, so let's go to our second question, which is, how do you know when it's time to use a care manager? How is that? How is that some? How if
Sorry.
you're a family? It's okay. It's okay. So the question was, how do you know when it's time to use a care manager? When is that? When would you say? Because as a family, sometimes you don't know what you don't know, and it's almost like being pulled by the riptide, right? By the time you realize you're out and you're in trouble, right? And
Sure.
you don't realize it. So when would that be? What would be some of the advice, some of the markers that you could tell somebody, this is what you need to watch out for at the time that you may have to have a conversation with me or someone like me?
Sure. So I would say, if there's a few things, okay, so if you notice that the person is always saying they're fine and they're not giving you details, that could be a good indication you need somebody to get in there and see what's the matter. If they are going into the hospital multiple times and you're not sure what's going on, they're not able to share their medical with you, or they're not telling you everything, and you're not sure that they're okay. You want to make sure that their health care needs are being met. Very, very important. Those are big red flag indicators. If the person is not answering their phone, like especially if you're out of state and you're calling your loved one and you're saying, they're not around, they're not answering the phone, you're calling the neighbors, hire a care manager. A care manager will go over there, knock on the door, find out exactly what is the problem, what's going on, and they will report back to you.
Yeah, and there's so many. It's amazing in our world how similar the context of a situation is, but how unique each situation is. Like, does that happen to
Absolutely.
you as well?
Absolutely. I mean, a care manager also will go in there and assess the person's needs from a professional standpoint. And that's a lot of times something that's hard for a family member to do. A lot of times family members will come in and they are not sure what to look at or maybe what questions to ask that are very important. So having a care manager will allow you to have somebody that can come in, can assess what's going on with the person, can hand you a report of that assessment. They can oversee their care. They can assess their personal needs. They can be there during a hospitalization. They can safeguard that person's rights, which is very important. They will be able to visit the person on a regular basis. They can even go to the store for the person if they need certain things, certain items or coordinate delivery of things. You can't always order everything off of Amazon
Yeah.
all the time. And in the middle of a pandemic, it's important that, especially if you're far away, that you have a care manager that is making sure that whoever is visiting your loved one's home is following proper precautions, also that they're wearing a mask, that they are tested every 2 weeks. These are things that I always make sure that whoever it is that I use, that they are taking those precautions seriously.
Yep. It's got to be crazy busy for you right now.
Oh, it is. But I will tell you, a lot of times when I come into care management situations and I have family members, a lot of times they'll say to me, I haven't been able to take a vacation. I haven't been able to relax. I'm constantly worried about how mom and dad is doing, or my uncle, and I haven't been able to retire and go on cruises or whatever it is that they regularly do. And a lot of times once they contract their care manager, they'll say, you know what? I'm able to finally take time for myself. And that's something that's very important. Especially when you're living and working and you want to be the power of attorney and make sure that your family member is being taken care of properly. But that doesn't necessarily mean that you need to give up your own livelihood to do that. You can, so it's vital that you connect to professional people that are able to assist you in, providing the care that your loved one always wanted.
Yeah, the respite component is massive, right? I mean, that is, in essence, in home care, we always say, and our team here, our care team, we're very aware that we have, it's almost two patients that we're caring for, the family, right? And the actual patient, because
Absolutely.
they're in certain conditions, they affect the family all around. Alzheimer's and dementia, it affects the entire family, not just one person. So when everybody's hurting, so.
Absolutely. And caregiver burnout is a real thing. And I always tell people when I meet them, I say, and they tell, as soon as they tell me that they have had to take a part of their life aside to be able to care for their loved one, and they haven't, it's interrupted their routine. I always tell them, be very careful, because caregivers are at a high risk for stress and mental health issues. They're at a higher risk. It's statistically proven, just caring for your loved one. So you want to be careful and make sure that you form a network and a group to be able to provide that care, and that you're not doing it all by yourself and overwhelmed.
Yeah, that's one of our three pillars that we always talk about, which is team building. You don't have to go it alone, and you shouldn't. You have to team build around it. So third question is, okay, so what happens after you're working with a care manager? And this is actually, okay, now it's on board. This is, rainbows and M&Ms for everybody, pretty much. Like, help is here. So what happens after? What do you see normally after the family engages with you?
Usually what I see is a sigh of relief from the family members. And they said, oh, Heather, I'm so happy that we hired you to be able to care for our loved one, because they're getting regular reports on how their family member is doing. They're getting regular pictures. They know who's caring for their loved one. They know that they have a routine. They know that they're being engaged, whether it's if their loved one likes going out to golf. They know, so it's really a nice feeling that they're able to have, knowing that they're doing their duty as a family member to care for their loved one. And care management is not always, one of the important things I want to say is it's not permanently needed all the time. It can be used in an interim basis when you just need to set up everything and you don't know how to do it and you don't know who to call for your loved one. Hire a care manager temporarily. This is not something that has to be long term. You can hire a care manager to set up everything in the beginning and then phase them out. That's completely fine.
That's a great point, because
yes.
I'm big into pre-planning. In other words, pre-planning the planning, and
right.
At that point is like, so that you don't waste any time or resources. You could hire a care manager just to walk you through the stuff that, like, you don't know what you don't know many times, right? So
right.
that initial pre-planning, it will be ideal. That means that things are they're not in crisis yet. Right, so
right.
So awesome. Well, I think this is a topic that you and I, when we talk before, we geek out on this. We could talk for hours. Unfortunately, we only have 15, 20 minutes here, but I think that we should do this again and go a little bit deeper into some specific issues. We'll take a little bit more time next time, and I set these up as a quick intro to the community. Of people that can make a difference in their lives and on topics that they may not be very well aware of. And so, but I'm stoked that you took the time to come by and spend some time with us. And so if somebody wanted to kind of link up with you, I know we've been showing your information all over the place
Yes, I
on
see
here.
my website.
Yeah, but if somebody, what's the best way that somebody could reach you right now? If they wanted to talk to you, they saw this video, and they say, "Oh, I got to talk to Heather right now." What's the easiest way that they could get in touch with you?
So the quickest way to get a hold of me, of course, is by email, because being a geek, we check our email all the time. Okay, even at 12 o'clock midnight.
Yeah,
So if you email me at dignityguardianship@gmail.com, that is the fastest way to get a hold of me, because I always check my email. And I will definitely respond to you right away. And everybody has different situations, and care management is customizable. That's important. Okay.
that's a great point. All right, so that's awesome. Thank you so much, Heather, and thanks everybody for watching. This is live. It will be replayed. If you have any comments and we're gone, just write them there. Somebody will come around and loop around and get with you and answer any questions that you might have. And I will see you next Wednesday, same time at 7:30 p.m. Take care. Talk to you
Thank
soon.
you.
Stay safe.
Thank you for having me, Claudio.
You're very welcome, Heather. Talk to you soon.
Okay.